Sure, why not?
Hey guys, thanks again for joining us for this live streaming broadcast. It's a 45-minute broadcast hosted by myself, Tristan Griffiths, and Vincenzo Landino, my co-host. Today is a very special day for two very good reasons. Here in Australia, we are now on the 21st of October, 2015, which for those of you who are sci-fi geeks, you will know that this is the day that in Back to the Future they came to. So they would have been here for 2.5 hours already. We're actually about 10 hours into Vincenzo's birthday in Australia. So happy birthday. Very, very happy birthday from me and everybody in the chat here. For anyone who's watching this anywhere except for on Blab, if you wanted to find these shows, they're really, really easy to find. There's a platform called Blab. It's Blab.im /ATW networking. The show is the same time every week for 45 minutes. Primarily set out to discuss live streaming tips and trends there, but the conversation, as you see week on week, can go in any kind of tangents around that 45-minute mark, just to discuss what's going on in the social media world. So, hey, Enzo, give us an introduction for your birthday. Give us a special birthday introduction.
I'm 30, and I have been looking forward to this day since I was a wee lad. Since I've been watching Back to the Future, I always remember saying, wow, that's my birthday, and I'm going to be 30 on that day. And now that day is upon us, and I'm super excited. And I'm also super excited to... Can I plug my podcast? Do you mind if I plug the podcast real quick? Go for it, so my podcast, Brand Boost Podcast, has been out. It was an early birthday gift to myself to launch it in October rather than in December. And I'm just super excited because that's been very successful so far. So thank you to everybody for giving me the best birthday gift ever, which is the ratings and reviews that you've left for me on the podcast. So thank you for listening, and just thanks for being a great audience. Thanks for supporting the Blab shows that I've been doing, and thanks for supporting Tristan and everything that he's been doing, because he's phenomenal. And thanks for watching this show. So that's my birthday, intro to myself, or to all of you, is thanking everybody for being supportive.
Cool. So that for those of you who don't know, I'm based in Sydney, Australia. Vincenzo is over in the States. So actually it's his birthday here, but it's not yet his birthday there. So this way he gets to celebrate for slightly longer. So I thought we could make a big fuss of him. So as a big birthday thing, if you haven't already, please do go over there and check out his podcast. It's really easy to find. It's brandboostpodcast.com /podcast. And you can go over there, check it out. If you enjoy it, please do share it with other people. Do leave a review as well. He loves getting all that feedback as well. So
I do. I love the feedback.
Whilst we're talking about live streaming, I guess we're going to start with a really basic one. And it might seem odd for people who are here every week, but we get new people each week as new crowds come in. So why should people be live streaming?
Oh, I mean, if you're not live streaming right now, you're missing out. You're really just missing out on an opportunity to be in front of your audience and to be the most authentic self you can be. Whether it's a brand, whether it's your personal brand, whatever it may be, you're just missing out on an opportunity to provide your audience with insights, with real-time insights behind the scenes views of what you're doing. There's so much opportunity that can be had with live streaming. And if you're not at least attempting to live stream some aspect of your business, of your brand, giving tips, we have Alex that just joined us from over all the way in Europe. He's in my birthday too right now. And Alex, he's the one that gives great, phenomenal tips on live streaming and marketing tips. If you're not doing things like that, you don't have to be talking about marketing. You don't have to be talking about anything specifically, but just pick a topic and talk about it and let people see you, let people discover you. Live streaming is it's changing the game. And if you're not doing it, you're going to really fall way back in really just promoting everything that you're doing. What's going on, Alex?
Yeah. Hey, all good. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
He's trying to stretch it out, Alex. He's trying to use Australia as the starting point for his birthday, so he gets more than the 24 hours that they get in the States.
That's clever. Usually people do this on New Year's Eve, but that's a nice way.
Trying to.
So how's your week been, Alex? How's your live streaming world treating you?
Well, good. I just arrived back from Canada, and I was on a Blab.im speaking there about Periscope. It was actually fun. And now I'm back in LA. I'm not in Europe.
Oh.
For another 10 days, and then I'm gonna be in China. And if anyone has an idea about VPNs in China, I'm really, really happy to.
I've heard. I actually read something about that in China. You should. I know a lot of people. They'll actually buy different cell phones, like a throwaway cell phone, as well as not using their actual, like your computer, using a different computer, and then this way you can, whatever. I don't know about specific VPNs, but just not using your actual devices that you would normally use. I've heard that a lot because you don't want to get hacked while you're there.
Oh, really? Like I was just thinking that I can't stay in contact with like Twitter, Facebook, and so on. And I think they didn't block Periscope so far. There's a website blocked in China, .something. And you can see like which services are blocked, and it seems at least the website Periscope TV is not blocked yet.
I'll find the article. Let me see if I can try and find the article for you. There was a really good travel article that I read, and it was all about this. It was all about being in China. It was, I forget who wrote it, but it was fantastic. And like I said, they went and got a different cell phone. It wasn't their normal cell phone. It was a smartphone, but it just wasn't, the one they used back home. And so they couldn't get anything hacked, any of their things, but they wanted to stay in contact. I don't know which VPN they use, so I have to find out. But I definitely should be careful, though, with that kind of stuff, especially over there.
Yeah, that should be awesome. I mean, what I heard is like I should install something here before I go there and put it in place. And
yeah.
It probably should work. I mean, let's see. If you won't hear anything between the 29th of October and the 5th of November, there you go.
That's why.
Good.
That's why.
Good to know. Nothing's wrong. Nothing happened to you.
Nothing bad happened. Well, at least I hope so. So how is it so far? What is it about here? Live streaming, 45 minutes.
So we do a 45-minute show. There's obviously on Blab, it gets quite regular that people go way beyond their time. And sometimes we're a little bit over, depending on tech issues, but we try to keep it to 45 minutes so people know what to expect. Trying to discuss the topic, the latest topics in live streaming, tips and trends. So just making people, because we have a regular audience and we have new people come in every week, is just going over kind of how to get the most out of your broadcasts, whether that's in advertising them before your show, how to make the best audio for your show, and kind of post-show what to do with things. Because obviously you do a broadcast and then it's done. I this week just launched a new show called Create in 30 with Sarah Moore, where we do exactly 30 minutes and we whistle-stop tour through how to create compelling content and repurpose it in a 30-minute slot. So we focus on a different thing each week. This week was our introductory week, and we got loads of really good feedback from the people there. So, I mean, within the live streaming, it's really important to be doing that, like to promote your shows to get people to watch. And then what do you do once you've finished with your broadcast? That's not the end of the cycle. You need to then kind of share it out again for the people who maybe missed it or to get a new audience for it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, repurposing content is so important. There was somebody who did a stream today, part of one of my groups, and she was, it was really, I never thought about this, but she's using Fiverr. You know Fiverr, right,
yeah.
Alex?
Yeah.
Okay. She's using Fiverr to transcribe all of her podcast Periscopes, and then use it as content. I mean, I never thought of doing it that way. I always thought about writing just a different blog post that goes in line with it. But she said, just spend $5-10 on that and have them transcribe it and then use it as a blog post. So there's just really interesting ways if you think outside the box on how to repurpose your content. Because like you said, Tris, it dies pretty much after you're done with it. Of course, you could use catch and all those other things, but that in the moment dies. So.
Yeah, and I mean, that's it. It's the same as, people saying about how, when you tweet, I mean, we've been doing something. Part of our show is showing people that a lot of people are overwhelmed by the fact that they have to constantly create content, but they're not actually using the content they've already got to its fullest potential. So if you like this, we do a 45-minute show. What can we do with that afterwards? You know, can we tweet out a couple of the most tweetable things that were said in the show? Can we put up a screenshot, an animated GIF? Can we put it on YouTube? So there's this whole amount of content that you can use, and it's not just using it once; it's being able to use it more than once. So I mean, like I was just before this, Alex Pettit does a show where he jumps on, gives Periscope tips, and I mean. Within the whole live streaming space, it is very community focused, and people are sharing lots of bits. You think, oh, that's a really good tip. I'd like to share that with my audience, because it might be something your people haven't necessarily seen. But obviously, hat tipping to the people who the tips have come from, if they're new to your audience as well. I mean, we put up a lot of graphics where if you see our Twitter is literally a stream of, most people can click on that media thing to find an image quickly. I hit it and it's like 2,000 images in like the last month, because we're putting that out. But the thing is, we also put that image, might go out today, and then I might put it out again in 6 or 7 days, because someone who wasn't online today might be online then. So it's hitting different audiences and different times of day as well. So you might only within your day be able to live stream in the morning. That might suit your lifestyle because you have clients during the day and you can't do anything around that. But what about an audience who would love the value that you deliver but can't watch it until the evening? So it's about retweeting it out and making it visible and accessible for everybody to see there.
Yeah, you can use Catch, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, the problem with Catch is that you finish your broadcast and Catch reposts it straight away. Now, people can go and find it, but life is so busy, you need to go, hey, there's some really good content over here, you need to come and look at it, and you need to remind people. So you can direct them straight back over to your Catch and say, hey, don't forget you can watch this broadcast. And I know some people use the immediacy of live streaming to say that it's like my broadcast finishes in 24 hours, go and watch it.
Yep. And
then a rebroadcast saying, hey, you've got an hour left to watch this, and it's, a 20-minute broadcast. So, get in and watch it before it expires.
Yeah.
So, different people have different strategies for driving people to their content. And it also, again, it depends. Are you someone who periscopes or broadcasts once a week, or are you somebody who broadcasts every day? And different people have different strategies on it, but that's exactly it, is knowing what your strategy is and having a plan for what you're going to do and how you're going to do it.
True.
Oh, okay. I thought yeah, you had, Brian Fanzo did that for a while. Well, I think he still does, where he takes the link after he's done, and 23 hours left, 5 hours left, whatever it is, and it's worked because. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Am I getting feedback?
No, all good.
No, you're good.
Okay, it works because it creates that that urgency again. The same urgency that you had as being live. Now you only have 24 hours, 1 hour left. You have to watch it. And I know I've tried that a little bit more with my scopes, and it's worked really well. I've seen my replay numbers go way up, and people are clearly watching it. Like you said, they may not have seen it live, but it gives them an opportunity to engage again.
True. I mean, what I love to do is just pin it. Just pin it for 24 hours to your profile on Twitter, so that helps. Yeah,
that's good too. I like that. But do you find that by pinning it, I mean, if that's what you want to be your pinned post, right? And because you're always on Periscope, Alex. So for you, are you constantly pinning? Are you constantly pinning your scopes?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Today, an article came out what I wrote in Germany in a magazine, so this is pinned. But usually, if not something particular special is happening, that's what I do. I pin my latest Periscope stream, because usually I stream once a day, so it makes sense. So I leave it for 24 hours, then I do the next stream, and I pin this one. And I think it helps. I mean, I'm not really an analytical person in this space. That means like I'm always writing down all my replay viewers, all my live viewers. I mean, now you have like those things like full scope. So basically I could do it by just taking a look at it. I haven't done so far, but maybe I will do it. and compare it.
Yeah.
I think it helps. So
I mean, doing that pinning of the thing, do you pin to your Periscope or do you pin your catch broadcast? Because obviously the problem with pinning to the actual Periscope original is the fact that if you don't go and unpin it in 24 hours, people click through and get an empty, they get the blank page, they get the broadcast as expired.
True. No, I'm pinning my Periscope stream. I'm actually not even posting my catch stream.
Yeah.
So I'm not really promoting catch on this. I mean, all my scopes are on catch, and I think I should go through them and delete some of them, which are not, but I don't think they are like a particular necessary. But I haven't done so far. And, it basically doesn't make so much difference. I mean, what's the big advantage that people watch your replays? Of course, you will get some more hearts, but as you know, like usually on replays, you don't get much hearts. Even I have around like 1,000 replay viewers, up to 1,000 replay viewers in between 24 hours, and I get maybe like 10,000 hearts. So it doesn't change a lot. And if you have like 100 replay viewers, you will get probably a tenth of it. People don't give so many hearts on replays, and I'm not a big fan of focusing on hearts too much, but it's more about like shares and viewers. So
I think that I guess it depends what you're broadcasting about, and what the content is of the broadcast. Because some people, if say you were going to run through say a 10-week how to do something, obviously then someone misses the live broadcast, they would definitely go back and watch the replay. It depends, because obviously some people do off the cuff and it's very casual, and some people are very structured in what they're delivering in their broadcasts. So I guess that plays a big role in which way you go with how you market it before and afterwards as well.
Definitely. Sean is in the stream. You want to take Sean in?
Oh yeah, cool. I didn't see us over there. So yeah,
Sean, want to jump in? Tell a little bit how the feedback is of this embed feature, what I really love. I didn't embed it on my blog so far with Blab. I don't know even if it's possible already, but I saw your stream when you announced it with Furkan.
Yeah,
pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think the embed feature is any additional ways that you can share the broadcast is going to be key to driving the traffic to the broadcast, and also for the playback afterwards. So yeah, I mean, it's like I say, that people have been using different tools up until this point, whether it's images or like their own kind of pre-roll, or they might do a Periscope that says, "Hey, I'm going to go live." I think there's a whole range of tools, and having that embed is great, because you could just have a page that is, your website /live, and you can just change to whichever the broadcast is that's coming up, which I think is fantastic as well. So yeah, I don't know if Sean, if you're free, if you wanted to jump in, I'd love to talk to you about the embed as well, because I wasn't actually in the last town hall as well.
He's genius. I mean,
he's a little busy. He's just watching.
Go on AlexKhan.tv/Blab, and people can watch it. It's awesome.
What do you want to know, Tris? What do you want to know?
Oh, so with the embed, I mean, I wasn't on the last town hall, and I'm actually playing catch up here a little bit this week, because, like I said, I've been working on a lot of other projects off the platform at the moment, and also setting up some brilliant new things for the platform as well. So with the embed, is it an embed to a specific Blab, or is it to your live? Because you know how with Periscope you can have your Periscope, and when you go live it's there, but it's the same URL all the time, because that's, I think, is the ideal solution for someone who's doing a lot of broadcasts, because otherwise it then becomes a little bit more laborious to do the embed. Like, I love the fact you can embed, so if you write a blog post you could say, here's all the stuff and the embed of this broadcast, but what about doing it so that when someone goes to, AllThingsNetworking.com /Blab, it would be our profile and a live when we go live.
So it's a specific Blab. So each Blab gets its own embed code. So when you schedule this Blab, all you had to do was go in and copy it. So for every single one, you're going to do it, as opposed to just being a channel. And if you think about it, if it was your channel, you would have to, like, if you scheduled 10 blabs, it probably wouldn't know which one to choose from. I mean, it could just choose the latest one, but I like it this way because you can, like, I can take individual blabs on different topics. So, like, when I record my podcast live, I'm not embedding that one live, but if I wanted to, I could put that on my podcast page. If I wanted to do another one, I can embed it on my personal page. If I wanted to embed it, for something else, like someone is doing, they've made a tab on their Facebook page to embed it there. So there's a lot of different. I think there's more flexibility with choosing where you want to embed your blabs.
For sure, I totally agree about that for individual broadcasts, but I think it would also be great to have that go here for it. I mean, obviously you've got your profile that you can send people to, but being able to maybe to embed that would be great as well.
Can you embed it any broadcast, or only the broadcast that can embed it his blab? Is there a code? Can I get this blab, for example, and embed it? Or only you can send me the link and then I can embed it? What? So
I believe you. So, okay, for a while back, maybe about 6 weeks ago, we had got Joel Com and I did a show, and we got an embed code, and I don't know if that embed code still works the same way the new embed code does, but you could embed any blab you wanted to, essentially.
Yeah.
So if you copy the embed, and I hope the guys don't kill me over this, but I'll give you the link, the old embed code that we used. The old, I say old, like it's non-existent.
Sean says it's fine.
Can't answer it. So only the host gets the code so far.
Yeah, let me hold on. I'll drop it in there for you if I still have it. Here it is.
Sean says that the old one won't work, but in theory, if it's got a URL, in theory, if it runs from the URL, you should in theory be able to change the URL to the current broadcast.
Oh, you need the new one. All right, so you need the new one. So it doesn't even. I don't know what Zane is saying. To the source, please. I'm not sure what she's talking about.
So, Sean, I just wanted to quickly ask as well, is there a reason that we've gone away from the short URLs as well? Because I noticed when we tweet out, it's still using long URLs. And obviously for when we're repurposing and posting it into other places, the short URL was super useful. I mean, we can obviously do it through other platforms, but I just wondered if there was a reason that it's dropped out.
URL is more friendly. It has your name. Okay. More likely to click it.
Okay, but when it gets shared through to somewhere else, if you look at how it appears on the left-hand side, it's got AllThingsNetwork, which doesn't tell you anything about the broadcast any more than the short URL did. And I guess very few people would have one that you could specifically see it. Okay.
So cool. So anything on the roadmap for you guys?
I'm working on a couple of extra new shows. I've actually consulting with 2 educational establishments about using this platform for educating their students, and also they're using a private function for hosting their tutorials as well. So using video conferencing kind of open and closed options within. In fact, it's one of them. Some people might have heard already. I actually, when I was back in the UK, managed to do that whole role reversal with the person who taught me how to be a chef and was teaching him live streaming. So that was quite student becomes a teacher moment, where we were teaching the college that I studied at how they could embrace live streaming and use that for interacting and engaging with the students.
Okay, cool. And Vincenzo? What's up?
Yeah. I've been working on my podcast. I launched that earlier this month. So right now I'm in the 8 weeks of new and noteworthy on iTunes. So I'm trying to really publish as much content as I can there. And that's been my focus. I'm also, that's really my focus right now. Honestly, that's the only thing I'm focused on for the next 4 weeks that I have new and noteworthy.
Can you share with the audience? I mean, I have my own opinion about it, but can you share with the audience why podcasts are so interesting for you?
It is another way for me, this is how I'm using, and I'll tell you how I'm using it and why it works for me. And to answer Sean's question really quick, just so I can answer him while he's here, I've recorded every episode but one on Blab, Sean. And when I was doing my other show, which was MCO Talk, as soon as Blab came out, I brought it right over to here. And you were actually on one of those shows. So as soon as Blab, I learned about it, I've shifted immediately everything over to here. So shout out to you guys for providing this. To answer you, Alex, for me, because I'm working on a digital agency, like a social PR agency, the podcast has become a set like proof. It's become proof of what we as an agency are providing as far as content. It's also providing content so that we have people, we can send people somewhere. And because I work with bigger brands and my podcast is focused around brands, it allows them to see what we're doing with those brands and the types of projects that we want to work on. So I'm not looking to make money on a podcast. I just want it to be there to connect with great brands, great people that are doing amazing things within their company, or if their company is doing amazing things. And like today, I interviewed a gentleman who is changing the way digital communication is happening within his company. And it was absolutely amazing information that I never even really knew anything about. He's using digital signage. I'm not sure how much they have that in Europe, like they use digital signage, but he's using digital signage to increase employee advocacy, to make employees happier, to showcase what they're doing at work, like the sales team. And so to me, that's great. And that's amazing content to take back to the brands I'm working with, the companies I'm working with, and saying, hey, look at this. Look at what these other brands are doing, and here's what you should be doing. And, oh, by the way, I actually interviewed them on my own podcast. And the podcast has no sponsors or anything, so we're not – it's very objective content. There's no agenda. I'm not trying to sell anything on there. So I use it to supplement what I'm doing in the agency.
Okay.
And that's why I find it interesting. I'm also trying to create content that's actionable, so somebody that's listening to it can say, wow, I'm going to go and do this in my brand. I'm going to go and do this in my company.
Yeah, so I'm going to just chime in about the podcast thing. Hey, Dawn, we'll jump over to you in a sec. But while we're talking about this, on the Create in 30, on the Create in 30 thing that we were running this week with Sarah, so that was actually yesterday, we had a conversation about this. And so podcasts, or even I said people are arguably now listen to video as well. So there was a conversation about repurposing sometimes just audio even to video platforms so that people can listen. It's because people are so busy, and as a mum herself, she said she's quite often doing things around the house. And she used to be very anti-podcast as well, but now she's got such a busy schedule that it's something she can listen to while she's doing something else. So while she's going to the park, or while she's doing housework or whatever she's doing, she can now do that. Listen and consume that as well without the distraction of having to sit and watch a video. I think that's the appeal of the audio side of it.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear, Alex. Alex, you said you had your opinion on podcasts. I'd love to hear what your thoughts.
Well, I asked myself actually why people right now storm about this, or are so excited about podcasts, until I read an article. I don't know where I read it, on Medium or somewhere else, that podcast subscribers are very active. Means they're very loyal, and it's an amazing way of engaging with your audience in this way, that they really listen to the podcast from the beginning to the end, which usually is not the case. If you take a look at Blab, I also like that people actually stay. If you compare with Periscope, for example, people jump in and jump out. It's a different thing. That was my learning out of podcasts. I'm not having any podcasts, but I get a lot of invitations of being a part in podcasts and sharing the message over Periscope and live streaming. So it's definitely interesting, and it's definitely provide great value for the people. And there are some people who really do it very professionally, with that intro message and an outro and so on. So it's really interesting to see that. I'm also
very cool. Yeah, that's a great stat to know. Is I didn't even, when I started the podcast, I didn't really even think about like those loyalty things because, like I said, for me it was just I wanted to create content in a different way. But that's really good to know. That's good stuff. I like that.
Yeah, and it's of course professional.
Hey.
Having a podcast, professional field, and by gaining more subscribers. I mean, most of the people I know, they don't do it like over Blab so far. They, I think, additionally do it over Blab because they like that new technology. They do it like with the normal ways. I mean, you have your own, your own software you're using, and you're part in, I don't know, it's like Apple or something. You're in a top list, and that's how they're doing. Like Shalene Johnson, Grant Cardone, and Tim Ferriss, I think is his name, Tim Ferriss. I mean, they're really big in this business field of podcasting, right?
So, Dawn, podcasting, your thoughts?
Well, I wasn't even jumping in for the podcasting part. I was going to talk about the embed, give my testimonial about that.
And then let's go to podcasting. Let's go.
Yeah, because I don't podcast. In fact, at the Blab.up last weekend, there were famous podcasters there who they were not from my sphere, my space, but they had rabid fans. And there really is something, the skill set of podcasters is very transferable over into the Blab live streaming. I think the ability to create consistent content, to do so professionally, to hone your message down into something that's short. I think those are great transferable skills. So I think it's a great idea that Blab is pulling over a lot of those folks, those professionals. But so the embed that we tried this morning, because we've been, as you know, I've been complaining about having I've been hosting my interviews for Tweb Chat here on Blab, but then there wasn't a way to put it on, bring that content back onto our moderated, branded Twitter chat page. And now there was. So today, I'm so excited. It was a beautiful thing. It was so
it's
good.
Definitely a jump forward,
it was
for sure.
Oh my gosh. And it was literally so lame I was be like this with my, like this, meerkatting my blabs to be embedded. And now it's just no engagement with that. It was literally just like a pass through using the video. So it was really nice to be able to have that there. The big question was, what about the internal chat? If that's sent out to Twitter, will that be a disconnect for listeners, without context? And it solved that because you have the moderated host chat that's pinned to the top. So you have folks that are just chat only, and then you've got folks that are within, I call it the gallery.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, I mean,
I think how are you?
I think it's great. Like, there's obviously lots of tools and workarounds. Like we were discussing that there was an embed before there was an embed, and that now that we're looking at how do they all work. It's you're using the best tools that are given to you, the best ones that are available on the market. And I think that's kind of why we started doing this show as well, was to help people find the best way to do things with their live streams. And obviously one of those things will be like promoting it. It will be repurposing it. And part of that repurposing will be that embed. That will become a really strong feature. Because a lot of people do have their own dedicated platform where they already have a community that they're kind of managing and controlling in one space. So it makes sense to then bring that broadcast to there rather than say, hey, all of you come from there to over here. You can also do it kind of both ways. So I think that's great.
Right. So it was great. So, and Alex, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah. These guys are great. I've learned a tremendous amount just from having jumped in here for 83 days, whatever the amount is, but being able to use it for getting my brand message out. I mean, we've seen an increase in people that are creating these Twitter chat pages. I've got appointments with people to actually almost like a product service, on Blab. Here, let's walk through personalizing your free page, and getting a lot of really, really good feedback. So I'm loving the platform right now. So
cool.
Yeah,
it's definitely awesome. I mean, I talked also about Periscope today that you get free content from a huge variety of different professionals, and it's possible to ask them questions, and individual they can answer it, and from all over the world. You can just use your phone or your desktop device, and you stay in contact with them. And that's awesome. I mean, this is a real game changer in my eyes.
So I had a question is, Alex, because your whole platform has been on Periscope, correct? I mean, that's where you really were. That's where you've just exploded. Have you noticed a difference in communities?
You mean in my community
between the
Periscope or the difference in my other communities because of Periscope, like Facebook?
I would say the difference between your Periscope community or the user community and then the Blab community.
Well, as I said before, it's different because here on Blab, people are really staying. They are listening. They're doing some things. I would find it pretty interesting if most of the people who stay here on a desktop device or on a mobile device, because Periscope in first place is on a mobile device. And that's why so many things can happen. You can get a call, something else is happening, you get an email, and you just jump out, because you see all those notifications popping in. And on a desktop device, it's easier. I also like to just listen to Blabs, and I'm not actually in front of my computer. I'm doing something else and hearing it like a podcast. And I'm not doing this on Periscope. I'm not using, you could actually watch Periscopes too and listen to Periscopes through Twitter, right? Through your desktop by clicking on a link. But I'm not doing this. And Blab actually made it possible because you can start a stream. I'm really waiting on that feature that Periscope is actually doing this, that you can start a stream on your desktop device because you could use so many different things with it. Like Tristan is doing all those fonts and times, and you can use microphones and so many different things. But a change in community, if you compare like Blab to Periscope, next to the length that people are staying, well, people are more communicative on Periscope. They're using much more comments than they use here. That's what I could see, like, if I compare it. But it's also something else because just 100 people can do it. It would be really interesting to see how it will change as soon as Blab scales.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you it's a huge difference in communication as long as you have less than 100 people on Periscope, and when it gets like 200, 300, 400, 500 on Periscope at the same time, peak.
Yeah.
Because just a small amount can communicate, and you have to think about other ways to do a workaround. So what I do, for example, the people can tweet it out, and I use my hashtag CanScope, and I have my desktop device next to it, and so people can tweet it out, and I read it out loud, so that we can kind of communicate with it.
So it's like a workaround.
That's a kind of workaround, I'm also thinking about, I'm getting from a company a new kind of how you call it, tripod, where you can put like two devices at the same time. So I can take my iPad mini and my iPhone. And what you can do is, what I'm planning to do is being on Meerkat and on Periscope at the same time. Or maybe I will be on Blab and on Periscope at the same time. I need to test it. What works better for me? Yeah, something like that. Exactly.
Three, my friend. 3.
That's too much, bro. That's too much, bro.
Well,
it's a sickness.
Do you have Alex? Is it Livestream? The company Livestream?
No, it's Archon Mount, I think. Archon.
Okay. Oh, right. Okay, yeah. So Livestream made this for me because I needed something to handle 3 devices at one time, and they made it for me. They named it after me.
Nice.
Oh man.
So guys,
I would just go.
I am just conscious of the time. We're coming up. We started a few minutes late, so we've got like about another 5 minutes. I just wanted to bring in a question that Mitch Jackson asked on the side over here on Blab. He asked, do you guys at all think that like live streaming and video will ever replace blogging? I know my own personal opinion, but I'd love to hear you guys. I've answered in the chat, and I'll answer after you guys. So Alex, what are your thoughts?
Again, can you repeat the question?
So Mitch Jackson just asked, do you think that live streaming and video platforms will ever like replace blogging?
Well, I just came back from a summit where basically it was about blogging, and you had like all big bloggers from Canada at the Blab.im conference, and I talked about Periscope, and it was a common question about how I think will be the change. I mean, people like to watch and people like to read too, but I think when you take a look at where we're coming from, we're actually coming from this way of communication, like this live interactive communication, talking to each other. That's the last thousands of years how we communicated. And the last hundreds of years, books came in and newspapers and there's new form. So it's going to be exciting. We will see how people will adapt. I mean, so far, no media replaced the other one. So we still have books, we still have newspaper, we still have TV, we still have radio. It's just shifting to the internet. I don't think that it will go away. Both has, for sure, it's in German it's called Daseinsberechtigung, but like the reason to exist. Yeah, exactly. So I think it will just shift a bit. But both is important and both will be used in the future. That's what I think. What do you think?
I mean, personally, I think that blogs are not going away. Just like any type of written content is not going to go away. It's still very valuable in search. It's still very valuable for, SEO, all that good stuff. But there's always a time that you want to read. There's always times that you want to have an article to take a look at, and you don't always have. I can't always watch something. I may not always be in a setting that I can watch or listen, but I can always read. And I like blogs because you can, or writing content articles because it's different than this type of content. If I need to say something without conversation, it's just my thoughts. That has the use for a blog. If I'm reporting on something, blogs are usually a great way to do that. Oh, well, here's Pro Blogger. We should just let him talk if I'm done talking now. What's up, Darren?
Before Darren goes on his rant, I just wanted to chime in so I get to say what I've got to say because I know where he's going to go. So my opinion on this, and I answered Mitch in the chat while you guys were talking on the previous topic, was I don't believe that it ever will because it's horses for courses. Some people like to read, some people like to listen, some people like to watch. There is something for that. And I think that, like I said, with the cross-promotion and the cross-pollination between everything, it's a place to put everything all together. Like, if you want to go and look for me, where are you going to look for me? Yeah, I've got a YouTube channel and stuff, but with my YouTube, it's not intuitively where do I go to get to you. There's the small links for your other platforms, but a blog is you can control the look and feel and make it your own. It's your own landscape. So I'm going to let Darren jump in and give his opinion. And that's my 2 cents.
You guys have pretty much said it all. I think. I think it's the style of content is one thing, like text versus video versus audio. Like, it's going to hit different personalities. Like I said in chat before, it's very hard to scan a live stream. People scan written content, and so I think there's always going to be a place for written content. I don't think one's going to kill the other. And in terms of the blog itself, blogs have been used for video content for years now, ever since you could embed YouTube. And I was doing a Blab before, and I saw I could embed the live Blab in my blog. So I think, blogs are just going to be the home for this kind of content. We're actually redesigning Pro Blogger at the moment. And one of the things we're adding in is you can click a link and it'll say live. And it will show you whatever's happening live, but also all our recordings for all our Blabs and Periscopes. So the blog is going to be the home for all of our live streaming, as well as the podcast, as well as the blog posts themselves. And who knows what else will come next. So I think just use the blog as the home for it all. And you control it as well. And that's the great thing. You don't control your Blab. You don't control Periscope. Ultimately, they have it, even though they give you the content afterwards. So, yeah.
I think that's great. That's the key thing is it's when you own and host your own thing, it's do you own the race horse or the race course? And obviously when it's your own website, blog, whatever you want to refer to it as, then you control the look, the feel, and how you deliver stuff. Whereas with everything else, you've seen it before, like there's platforms, they make changes. Everybody built organic reach on Facebook and everyone put all their time and effort in, and then suddenly they went, hey, you've got to pay for it. So they changed everything, and then you had no control on that. Whereas if you built your community off on there, obviously it's a tool. I think it's absolutely key to have that as your main central hub. Like there's so many businesses say, hey, cool, come and join me on Facebook as their first call to action. And I'm like, if you have that customer and you've already caught them, why aren't you sending them to your own product, which then tells them about everything else that you do, rather than the other way around where you're giving kind of that juice to Facebook rather than to yourself?
Yeah, Mitch, I absolutely don't think it's an old way of thinking, and I do not believe that. I do believe strongly in owning your platform, whatever platform you're on. We don't. If this goes away tomorrow, if Blab just shuts down tomorrow, and all my content lives here, I start from square one, from scratch. But your blog that you host, that you own on your own, your website, your email list, those are things that you own. Those only go away if you go away. If you want it to go away. I'm a strong believer in owning your content and hosting it on your own at somewhere. Just saying things are, and I don't disagree. Let's see. Zane said, so our blog websites are where we live and invite people over for nice snacks, dinner, drink. Yeah, I mean, exactly. You want your blog and your website to be the place where you send people. Again, if you search for me, if you go and type in Vincenzo Landino in Google, or Zaneology in Google, where are you going to show up? Again, if YouTube, if Facebook, if Twitter, all these things disappear tomorrow, are people going to find you anymore? So you have to own some sort of real estate. It's like the difference between renting and owning something, a home or like me. Okay, now everyone's going to say your website's real estate. Exactly. So by owning it, you have control over the audience. You have control over who's seeing it, how they're seeing it. And again, unless you're just doing this for fun, which I think most of us are not, and Darren would agree, Alex would agree, Tristan's going to agree. Yes, we enjoy what we're doing, but come on, we're trying to make a living here as well. So I can't rely on Google. I can't rely on Facebook, Twitter, and please disagree with me if somebody disagrees. I don't mind if you disagree.
Well, I actually agree with you, and I like that quote at a weekend someone said, and I see it from that perspective. I don't want to be dependent on anything. So exactly. I don't want to be dependent on Facebook. I don't want to be dependent on Twitter or Periscope or any other channel. That's why I'm using and try to use all of them. And if you would make me choose one of those, I probably would choose email. I would rather use building up my email list, because you don't know if Periscope would exist in 10 years, or Facebook, or how you name it, right? But your email list, probably you're going to use. Facebook tried to kill it with their own email and with their login button, but we're still using email. Every one of us is still using email. It has been there before, and it's still there, and we use it the most, So if you think about considering where to start, probably start by building up a landing page, building up a blog, and building up your email list, because that's how you get the people, and that's what you should focus on.
Yeah, I'd say you've got to diversify though, because even Gmail changes how emails are now being sorted, and some go in one box and some go in another box, and
class that's promotional. It ends up not even in the inbox.
Yeah, and your blog, like Google's controlling whether your blog gets found in Google. So you've got to diversify. I think it's actually really smart to be in different places. The other thing I'd say with live streaming is that it doesn't suit every personality type. Some people just can't present as well, and they write brilliantly, and so they'd be stupid to give up writing to do live streaming. So I think it really comes partly down to you and the type of reader that you're trying to reach as well, or the type of person. Some people, my parents, I don't think they're ready for live streaming. And so if I want to reach their demographic, I need to create content that maybe is video but lives on Facebook, because that's where they live now, or written content. So there's so many factors.
I mean, I just want to quickly address, we're going to wrap up in the next couple of minutes, but I just wanted to address something that Linda said, where we were talking about ownership of content and taking ownership of that, is what people are doing to kind of protect their content. If you invested all your time and uploaded all your videos just to YouTube, and tomorrow Google went, we don't like this product anymore, and pulled the rug, all your content disappears overnight. It's unlikely to ever happen, but you can't say that it never would happen. So she asked a very, very kind of prolific question, in the fact that she said, what do you do with it? Do you save it to your Dropbox so that you've got a copy if the platforms went down? Do you put it on multiple platforms? And it's a good question, because putting it across multiple platforms would mean it's very unlikely any of them would disappear completely. It's even less likely that if you put it in two different places, they would both simultaneously disappear. So if one went down, you could then go, hey, I'm going to back that up and I'm going to save a copy. And I think it's a good practice anyway. I mean, cloud storage is so cheap now. I mean, if you look at like using Amazon Web Services and things like that for backing your stuff up, if it's just keeping copies and not accessing them, it is stupidly cheap to store stuff anyway. As someone who does like professional photography as well, we used to run a brand that was working in like 10 nightclubs, taking 200 photos a night, and every photo got turned into 3 different styles of image for like a high-res copy and an edited copy and the originals, and they were all backed up. So you can imagine if we were going hard drives, the amount of space and number of hard drives that would be sitting around gathering dust, and obviously prone to failure, whereas Amazon Web Storage and things like that would actually then roll backwards, and they back up across in different places as well. So you get like you've got a fail-safe where if it does fall over, there's another server that's got it saved. So I think the cloud storage side is a really good solution.
Yeah, mic drop. Yep. I have nothing to add there.
If nobody's got anything to say, we're going to wrap up there, because we are about 10 minutes over after we ran a little bit late with the start. So I want to say thanks to everyone for joining us, everyone who's contributed in the chat, everyone who's asked great questions, everyone who's jumped in the video, specifically to all the guys who are here adding loads on right now. Thanks to Alex, thanks to Darren, thanks to Dawn, who jumped in earlier. Thanks to Leanne for moderating and dealing with the chat and promoting over there for us. Thanks to everybody who's been involved today. Really appreciate your time. We do this the same time every week. So on Australian time in Sydney, that's 10 a.m. What time's that where you are, Vincenzo?
It is, we start at 7 p.m. Eastern time.
Is that why everyone dropped out of mine halfway?
Probably.
Sorry?
Everyone dropped out of mine halfway. I noticed they all left the room because you guys.
sorry to steal them, Darren. Maybe we can time them better and we can roll from one to the other, and you can come join us. So I did reach out to Zainology. I'd love her to join us if she's available next week on camera as a special guest. I'd love you to come on, so please DM me afterwards. Thank you very much to everyone once again. We really appreciate all of your time, which is why we try to restrict the amount of time here, and so that people can come back and watch the replay. This does get repurposed, and if you connect with myself and Vincenzo on Twitter, you'll see through tweets throughout the week what the topic will be for next week, and also where you'll be able to find this, which was one of the top questions today. So you'll be able to see where we repurpose this content to. Thanks a lot, guys, and we'll catch you here same time next week.
Thanks, Tris. Bye.